fairy tales can come true. It can happen to you if you're young at heart. For it's hard, you will find, to be narrow of mind if you're young at heart. You can go to extremes with impossible dreams. You can laugh when your schemes fall apart at the seams. And this is the bit exciting with each passing day. And love is either in your heart or on its way. Don't you know that it's true? It's worth every treasure on earth to be young at heart. For as rich as you are, it's much better by far to be young at heart. And if you should survive to 105, look at all you'll derive out of being alive. And here is the best part: you've got a head start if you are among the very young at heart. Don't you know that it's worth every treasure on earth to be young at heart? But as rich as you are, it's much better by far to be young at heart. And if you should survive to 105, look at all you'll derive out of being alive. And here is the best part: you've got a head start if you are among the very young at heart.
Teresa James, everyone. Let's give her some love. How we all doing this morning? Hi there. Nice to see you. So there's some stuff going on around L.A., right? The Blues are happening. Have you noticed that? 2 games in. And for those who don't believe in divine intervention, there was a Grand Slam home run in the first game, and I just went, holy Jesus, look at that. I didn't know Jesus played baseball. Anyway, it's good to have you here with us. If you don't know who I am, my name is Reverend Dr. Michael McMorrow. I'm the senior minister here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills. So for those of you joining us in-house, give yourselves a hand. Yeah, why not? Get the blood going. And for those of you joining us online, you can give yourselves a hand at home. Give yourself a little pat on the back for joining us today, and we're delighted to have you. If this is your first time here, we welcome all who practice their beliefs in faith and love. Our musical inspiration today is Teresa James, who we've heard from so far. And our presider today is the Mistress of Animal Ministry, Reverend Kathy Lyons. Oh. Appropriately named Lyons. All right, so let's get started by taking a deep, conscious breath together as we come together for our call to service, which we call Lighting the Flames of Faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, All sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. That fundamental to this truth is a unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as Reverend Kathy lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. The second candle we light for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. The third candle we light for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. The fourth candle we light for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. The fifth candle we light for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. The sixth candle we light for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. The seventh candle we light for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. The ninth candle we light for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. The 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here in the sanctuary, within our online community, and of course within our own hearts. And as Reverend Kathy lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
There is one flame that burns in our hearts. There is one light that shines through our love. We light this flame with faith. We find this light within our own soul. There is one flame, one light within.
So join me, please, as I speak in the first person for each one here and online. How grateful I am to be here, whether it's online or here at in the sanctuary or in Sparks Hall. How grateful I am to be here to celebrate this beautiful Sunday, and recognizing that there is that one flame, one spirit, which we call God, and that God is that love and harmony and inspiration. And I am one with that flame of love, harmony, and inspiration, and affirming that today this service is a perfect and complete idea in the mind of God, that God just expresses through Reverend Mike to uplift and inspire, and knowing that there is just love and harmony in every aspect of life and in this community, and that everyone here is just expressing their divine nature in their unique way. And so I am so grateful right now as I release these words to the law. I know it is done, I know it is so, and together we say, and so it is. Okay, good morning. And how grateful I am that the temperature is cooled a bit. Last week, one of a prominent New Thought person, Terry Cole Whitaker, made her transition. And I remember first hearing about her in the early 80s. She had a television ministry, probably some of you might remember it. And one of the things this friend told me about her and said, you know, that she says that God is within you, you know, not a God out there. And there's this ability that God, with that God presence, to create a life that I would want. And I thought, wow. And I wasn't real into spirituality or attending a church, but I'd watch her once in a while in the early and mid 80s. And then in the late 80s, I decided I really wanted to get on a spiritual path and belong to a community. And I was drawn, and I'm sure that was one of the reasons I was drawn to the science of mind. And she wrote a book, What You Think of Me Is None of My Business. And I believe, though, that quote was actually Raymond Charles Barker. It was, yes. But I remember that was such a powerful idea to me, because that was something that gave me the courage to get into Toastmasters, because public speaking, I had a lot of fear. And even when I first started presiding here, I was extremely nervous. And that statement helped me so many times, both in jobs and in social situations, because I do believe anxiety, that a lot of that has to do with worrying about what, at least for me, I can't speak for everyone, worrying about what other people think. I remember as a young adult going out and like worrying, you know, do I look okay? And then when I came home, well, did I say all the right things? And that just causes more anxiety. But that idea, what other people think is none of my business. And we are all unique beings. I remember too, sometimes there was this cookie cutter idea that you're supposed to be a certain way, you know, being successful and making a lot of money, climbing the corporate ladder, having that ideal mate. Well, we're all unique beings. That works for some people, but not for everyone. So I learned, be myself, be my unique self, and I'll attract the right people, the right job, whatever it is, than trying to create this image that I thought other people would be impressed with. Another thing about Terry Cole Whitaker that impressed me, I know she did go through a time of some challenges, I believe, with her career and relationships. But the point is, though, she did seem to rebuild her life. She has a very successful YouTube channel. In fact, I subscribe to it. I encourage anybody who, if you haven't heard her speak, watch that channel. And in the 80s, she used to do these talks, you know, typical 80s, wearing the suit and looking perfect and great speaker. But in her later years, she would be just sitting out in nature, giving these talks. She seemed more like talking to you heart to heart. So I encourage everyone to watch her videos. And so what she said is, don't give opinions of other power. So she says, another favorite was, life doesn't happen to me. I am life happening. So say to yourself, I am life happening, and so it is.
So it is. I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right. As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their needs? A summer's disregard, broken bottle top, and one man's soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love. It's time that I realize that there are some with no home, not a nickel alone. Could it be really me, pretending that they're not alone? A willow deeply scarred, somebody's broken heart, and washed out dream. They follow the pattern of the wind, you see, 'cause they got no place to be. That's why I'm starting with me, and I'm starting with the one in the mirror. I'm asking to change her ways. No message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror, asking him to change his ways. No message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make that change. Gotta get it right while you got the time. It's when you close your heart, you close your mind. That's why I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm gonna change my ways. No message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change.
Thank you, Teresa. We have a few announcements. First, practitioners are available if you want a 5-minute, maybe 5-minute, or 2-minute tune-up. 2 to 5 minutes if you'd like it. And they can be powerful too. You don't necessarily have to, go on and on about a story or anything like that. But if you have something, either a challenge or a change you want to make, or maybe just enhance what's already good in your life. I'm a practitioner. Who else here? There's Reverend Maureen and Reverend Mike. And so, feel free to come and talk to us. Also, if you want to talk to a practitioner more in depth, you can go to CSLGH.org and find a practitioner. All of us are on there with our bios, so feel free to contact any of us. There is a new Zoom meeting for ID for fellowship. You have to email Lissa, and you can see her email address so you can get on the screen. And Wednesday, October 30th, Sangha classes will resume sessions from 9:30 to 11:30, and the classes can be purchased by a group for $140 or standalone for $25. And there's a flyer in Sparks Hall. October 30th, 7 p.m., there'll be drumming with Burl Bowlerjack. And this is a big event. Our annual Harvest Festival is November 2nd, and tickets are on sale for $65 from 10:15 through 11:01, and $75 per person at the door. So buy your ticket ahead of time, because they need to know too, it's helpful how much food to order, and it's a great evening. They have this area just set up beautifully, so, don't miss out. Or you can also call Danny at the church office and purchase the tickets that way. We have a gratitude box by Terry Mosman and first service, and Barbara Tajme second service. How do you pronounce it? Turney. Okay, I apologize. What is that? Could you explain what that is? Yeah, come on up.
This is a gratitude box. It's a dot box, and we ask people to fill out a form, fill out a piece of paper, and tell you what you're grateful for. So today I picked out grateful for the beautiful weather.
Yay. Okay, so now we're going to do our declaration of principles, so please stand. We believe in one universal spirit manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us. We believe that the universal spirit is personal to and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe that our faith operates upon a law of mind which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life and the immortality of the individual soul forever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the givingness of life to all.
Y'all sing with me now. I am holy light. I am holy light. I am holy light. I am one with God. I am perfect health. I am perfect health. I am perfect health. I am one with God. I am beautiful. I am beautiful. I am beautiful. I am one with God. I am holy light. I am holy light. I am holy light. I am one with God.
So let's give some more love to Teresa James there, shall we? Now, did Michael actually write that song, or someone else wrote it for him? Do you know?
I don't know.
There's a lot of deepage going on in that song. I remember the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, I got to start with me? I thought I had to change all that. So this is our last exploration of Power to the People for this month of October. And today we're going to be speaking to Power to Create a Better World, which is a kickoff to our global vision as a religious, so we are the Centers for Spiritual Living, but our denomination name is Religious Science, which I once had a young adult tell me one time that that seemed like a non sequitur. That's not the word. Didn't make any. How can you be an oxymoron? That's it. How can you be a religious scientist? Hey, Sammy. Yeah. So I'm gonna look at that a little bit today, in my typical skeptic's view kind of way, which the reason why I speak from that perspective is I think it's helpful for people to know that it's okay to work the edge of your spirituality. In fact, if you really want to grow spiritually, you have to work your edge, right? You have to allow yourself to go to the uncomfortable spaces and to look at it and to figure, okay, what is it that I actually believe? And does my life reflect that? And you don't have to be a religious scientist to do that, do you? So now we have another take on that, which we'll get into here in just a little bit. But there's a lot going on right now. We're moving into November, so we're going to be moving into the holiday season. But before we get to that, we're going to have the Harvest Festival. So I want to invite so I see some new faces here. I would encourage you to come to the Harvest Festival next Saturday night. It's a time for music and dancing and moving to the grooving. And you can eat. There's food. And just when it hit me, no, we won't go into that. So the Harvest Festival's next Saturday night. It is a really fun event, and the crew transforms this room from a sanctuary into a very festive atmosphere. So you're most welcome to join us, and so don't be shy if you want to come. And then we're moving into, there's a lot even just going on this week, that the Festival of Diwali, the Hindu Festival of Lights, is happening this week. And then we usually have an ofrenda, but this year I wasn't able to do it. But we have Dia de los Muertos coming up, and I thought that might be Mike Carlin at first, but it's not. And then, of course, the big celebration is Happy Halloween. Yes, Happy Halloween. And of course, tagged along with that is Samhain, that time of year when the veil is thin between the two worlds, from which is an Irish or a Celtic tradition from which Halloween has its basis. And so it's also, if you get visited by someone, then you are going to actually I do believe in spooks. Yes. Yeah, so anyway, this is actually the Pacific Northwest, but I love how mystical it looks, right? So the night when the veil between the two worlds is very thin indeed. So we're moving into that time of year in our calendar when honoring all paths to the divine, which is what we do here, it gets a little busy. And if we are going to have a chance of empowering this notion of building a world that works for everyone, we are probably going to have to start here. We're probably going to have to start at religion. For blending beliefs is far more difficult than blending reasoned positions from empirical evidence. Right? Sometimes that can be pretty heavy. So if we think about it from a cosmological position, there's my grandson Jamie. He keeps popping up in the most crazy spots. Yeah, I don't know how he gets there. All right. Go back, get your diaper changed. All right. So, blending beliefs is often more difficult than blending reasoned positions. So, for instance, you may believe that the world is flat, although the evidence is that the world is round. Some folks believe that the world is only 6,000 years old, but the evidence shows that it's far older, millions of years older than that. And then if you try and blend religious beliefs with empirical evidence or science, it gets tricky. And often we may find the only way to get them to fit is with fantastical thinking, fantasies, or conspiracy stories. But what they all have in common is a leap of faith at some point. So is it any wonder when we think about the largest growing denomination within spiritual circles is, anybody? The nuns. Not the pious nuns, but the NONES, those who have no affiliation at all, right? So that it's, in fact, I used to think that spiritual but not religious might be the new denomination, until it occurred to me that spiritual but not religious allows you to say, yeah, I'm spiritual, just don't ask me to do anything about it, right? So the one thing that religions have in common is faith and belief, and then there's an action component to it, whether it's dogmatic or whatever the practices may be. So is it any wonder that there are so many who give up on this idea and belief in a power greater than we are, particularly when we look out in the world and we see so much conflict, so much suffering, because in many cases it runs contrary to what our spiritual principles may articulate. And of course, we can all conjure up instances where many, God, who knows how many millions, tens of millions of people have been killed through the centuries over religion, right? So we may find, on reflection, that this global vision that we have of creating a world that works for everyone is at least daunting, if not a bit naive undertaking. So Reverend Ryan Beatty writes, creating a world that works for everyone requires a conscious and intentional approach that extends beyond passive observation. And it starts with embodying what we stand for, aligning our choices with our values, and being living examples of the positive change we wish to see. And this means taking a stand for a world that honors equality, compassion, and harmony. So I think it's also important to understand that the universe is not going to hand anything to us for free. That there's an action beyond passive recognition. In fact, I would even say to be most effective in our spiritual practice, it needs to be an active recognition. So this is the science of mind, of course, and not the science of wishful thinking. That we work with, what we are working with is a law of cause and effect that we believe to be divine in nature, a law of circulation, which implies an exchange, a flow, an exchange of energy. So, in this way then, is a spiritual mind treatment, which is the way in which we shift conditions in our life, is a spiritual mind treatment of an exchange of energy. And I would say, you bet it is. Treatment as cause, demonstration, or result as effect. though it may take a while to see a demonstration. So what we know is that we have to begin to see the world with a metaphysical perspective. We begin to see the world from a place of knowing that there is a cause behind that which the appearance of what we are seeing. And so we start to see the world in a new way, with a new pair of glasses, if you like. So there is action beyond passive recognition, and that action is love itself. It is love that is the power behind all religious and spiritual practices. Regardless of what we think of it, its initial design, if you will, was from a place of trying to understand what cosmic love, what love expressing in the universe, what does that mean? How does it relate to me? And what is my relationship to it? It is the creative impulse of life as love, ever changing, creating and recreating the world from itself, having an experience of itself by means of its creation. Now, this is a very powerful idea if you include yourself in this equation, that the creative impulse of life is having an experience of itself by means of you, each one of you. Regardless of what you think about that, regardless of your judgments or self-recrimination, even regardless of any hubris you might have about how wonderful you are, right? Because the truth is that you are wonderful. So how do we express that wonderfulness, right, and maintain a sense of humility? Well, we have to come from love, don't we? A love that seeks first to understand rather than be understood, right? The mystic Francis said that, what was that, 16th century? Right, so this stuff is ancient wisdom that we're pulling into the modern time. That resonates within our own heart, that we see, that resonance then says, this fits with me. This fits with me. I feel empowered by these ideas. Now some of us have to let go of old stuff. And what we call that in religious science is a healed consciousness. That we have to allow enough space for this creative impulse of life to move itself in. And mainly so that we can understand that we are enough. Forgive yourself already. Right? So November, I'm going to be focusing on reconciliation, right? Reconciling with ourselves, reconciling with knowing that we are one with the Spirit. Maybe not in the perfection of its expression, right? Rather the perfection of its human form, yes, which means we will at times be in error. But so in this way then, a sin becomes an error in thought rather than an offense against the divine. Little different way of seeing the world. So this creative impulse of life, ever changing, creating, recreating the world by means, having an experience of itself by means of its creation. And so in this way then stuff changes. Shift happens. And this may not always be welcome. So Socrates said a long time ago that the secret of change is to focus all of our energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Right? So the Buddhists would say that we're releasing any sense of struggle, even attaching to good stuff or attaching to old stuff. Right? In religious science, we would say we have to allow the law of life to heal these old ways of thinking that no longer serve us, and that it's okay to let go of stuff It's okay to set those 2 bags of manure that you've been dragging around for your entire life, right? Of judgment, like Terry Cole Whitaker. That was actually a favorite of hers, is what you think of me is none of my business. Because we all know that we give out a lot of space in our head to such thinking. So, which, to bring it back to this idea of spiritual mind treatment, right? That we're inviting the Spirit into our mentality to produce a different result than the one that we're currently experiencing, hopefully better, right? Hopefully better, but the law only knows to say yes. So one of the things we might want to do mental treatment about is clarity, right? Knowing that we are working from the Spirit, in the Spirit. So behind all this mental treatment stuff is what? Faith and belief. Here we are again, right? In what? A love so pure and unconditional that it appears to be impersonal. For the rain falls on the just and the unjust alike, the master teacher said. So an impersonal power acting as the logical result of its creative urge to express as the cosmic yes. So in this way, then, we are not born into original sin of the 4th century of Augustine, but rather original blessing. I've first heard of this idea from Father Richard Rohr, but he probably lifted it from someone else, because it seems like such a universal idea. It must have been around for a while. So, okay, this spiritual mind treatment thing. It's an exchange of energy, has its roots in faith and belief. It's powered by unconditional love, acting as law. I get that. So where's my stuff? Where's my stuff, man? To demonstrate effectively, there is an exchange, and in that exchange, it can be hampered in ways that are conscious, but usually unconscious. That there is a reception, an impregnation, if you will, of the thought or action impressing itself into the creative medium of mind, that aspect of divine mind that knows only to say yes. There is no evaluation to this impress, right? That this law does not decide whether what your desires are, if they're good or bad, because there is no good or bad. In the mind of cosmic consciousness, there just is. Right? Now it doesn't mean there's not intrinsically good and intrinsically bad, but we're not going to get into that philosophical discussion today. But the point I want to make is that there's not an evaluation on what it is that you are wanting to call forth into the world. And we're doing this spiritual mind treatment thing. We're doing our spiritual practice. We're sitting on the cushion. We stop flipping people off on the freeway. Why aren't I getting my stuff? And we may even start to think, this stuff seems to work for other people, but it's never going to work for me. And Ernest Holmes recognized this himself when he wrote, by appearing not to work, it's actually working. So one of my favorite passages in the Science of Mind textbook then, for those of you who've been in class with me, you know this, that hence it follows that if we believe it will not work, it really works by appearing to not work. When we believe it cannot and will not, then according to principle, according to the law, it does not. But when it does not, it still does. Only according to our belief that it will not. Is that some crazy shit or what? Crazy stuff. So that's on page 52 in the textbook on the bottom. Next page, he goes on to write, so this is our own punishment through the law of cause and effect. We do not enter in because of our doubts and fears. It is not a punishment imposed upon us by the Spirit of God, but an automatic result of failing to constructively use the law of God. So this is a good news, bad news idea, right? So the good news is, if I caused it, then I can fix it, right? If I caused it with an errant thought, I can choose to think differently, right? I can choose to have a different experience, right? I may have demonstrated a cancer, but I can now demonstrate a healing. So, which begs the question, how do we know that it's working when it appears to not be working? Anybody else wonder about that, or is it just me? Just me, okay. Thank you, Seth. All right. So, and as a result of the treatment, it may be, so we think, often we go into treatment thinking it's going to have a particular result because we've been very clear, we've defined it, blah, 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 but we don't want to outline, right? That's what we're taught when we're learning to use this stuff. So I remember one time I was in class with Dr. Maureen one time, back when I was a building contractor, and we were in a prosperity class, and I'm treating for more work, right? But not those little dingbat handyman crappy jobs. I wanted the big ta-da jobs, right? Because, as I argued, it takes just as much work to move into a big job as it does to move into a little job. So if I can get a job that's worth $100K, then I don't have to run down 10 little $10,000 jobs. So I kept coming into class and saying, yeah, this stuff doesn't work. And so after a few weeks of this, she finally said, so tell me more about that. So this is when you know with Dr. Maureen, something's coming, just letting you know. So tell me more about that. So I said, well, yeah, so you're getting no calls? Well, yeah, I'm getting calls, but it's, these little dingbat jobs. So finally she just says, the next job, the next call that you get, you have to take. Like, yeah, but Maureen, you don't understand, right? So I gave her my whole pitch again because I'm very tied to this idea, right? It's old thinking. It's an old paradigm. So what happened was I ended up saying yes to this little dingbat job, which then grew into the biggest job I ever had, right? Which in time became the best year in business that we had had. So this was before 9/11. So it was kind of fun because we used to go by. So 9/11 hit, and I don't know about you guys, but everything shut down for a while. And so basically all we had to do was go to lunch every day, and we'd swing by the ATM and look at our bank balance just to have a little tee-hee on the way to lunch. So, what can it look like? So it might look like a nudge to take action in a particular way. A divine nudge, by the way, is a feeling that just won't go away no matter how hard you try to ignore it. So how many times have we had such experiences only to ignore them, right? Even feelings of anxiety or dread may have divine insight behind them if we can develop a bird's eye view, get enough of a kind of a cosmic perspective on things. Now, personally, my attention to such things when practicing on my own is very self-centered. Unless I'm working with someone else, of course, because it's so much easier to work on someone else's stuff than our own. Maybe you've noticed that. it's much easier to point to the log in our neighbor's or the splinter in our neighbor's eye instead of the log within our own. And at the same time, this power that we are working with is infinite in nature. This means that we can use this law of love for anything, so long as it does not harm another. And even this can get tricky. So, by living our ideals and actively participating in the betterment of society, this is Ryan, I'm going to jump ahead here. We sow the seeds of positive change and pave the way for a world that embraces the potential of all individuals, fostering a reality of unity, harmony, and thriving for everyone else. So the question then is, can we answer the call to create a world that's greater than we are alone if our core belief is, what's in it for me? Right? Now, religions, this is a perplexing question that religions have been trying to answer forever. Our particular denomination is trying to do this at the leadership level as well. So I'm going to leave you with this, and then I'm going to shut the heck up. Oh, I was supposed to show you that slide. To be for something and against nothing, as Michael Beckwith says. So let's take a breath as we invite Teresa to come on up. So there's a lot to think about in that, right? So the outer world, of course, is stirred up in 50 different ways. You know, it can feel overwhelming. For sure. But if we're, I had a spiritual experience in the 80s also, because I managed to drink myself into a spiritual awakening. And that's the first place I heard that God is either everything or nothing. So if that G-O-D is too loaded for you, love is either everything or nothing. I really do feel that this is a creative impulse in life. That matter coalesced in all of its various manifestations so that in time it created you and me. And this unique expression of love as a creation of the Most High. So the question is, are we willing to accept the mantle of this idea that I am made in the image and likeness of the Most High? So put your hand over your heart and just say that in the first person to yourself. You can say it out loud. Say, I am the living expression, what did I say before? That was a lot better before. Yes, I am made in the image and likeness of the Most High. Let's try that one. I am made in the image and likeness of the Most High. So there's either a resonance of yes, not yet, or who you kidding? And all are legit, right? Because we're working with an infinite power and presence that is restoring us even now through our willingness to be love in the world. So let's take that through the rest of this day, practice it, and maybe even as you're giving out that candy, you're just giving out love, a little sugar love. All right. And then come back next week. We'll check in with each other, see how we did.
feel the power. We need to share our love, 'cause love will not do you wrong. Living's mostly wasting time, and I waste my share of mine, but it never feels too good, so let's not take too long. The world is soft as glass, gentle hand. We've got the sky to talk about, the world to lie upon. Days up and down they come, like rain on a conga drum. Forget most, remember some. Don't turn away. And everything is not enough. Nothing is too much to bear. Where you've been is good and gone. All you keep is the getting there. Live is to fly low and high. So shake the dust off of your wings and the sleep out of your eyes. We've all got holes to fill. Sometimes them holes are all that seem to be real. Some fall on you like a storm, but sometimes you dig your own. The choice is yours to make. Time is yours to take. Some dive into the sea, some toil upon the stone. To live is to fly low and high. So shake the dust off of your wings and the sleep out of your eyes. Shake the dust off of your wings, the tears out of your eyes.
Teresa James, everyone. You can find her on Spotify, Apple Music, or you can just talk to her and ask her if she has any CDs with her, if you still play those. All right, so let's call Chloe on up. If you've come prepared with an offering, of course, not required, of course, if your first time. Just make your way up to the basket as we sing our offering song. Thank you, Chloe.
receives through me. Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit gives through us. Spirit receives through us. Spirit lives and breathes through us. Oh, Spirit lives and breathes through us.
So let's go within for just a moment longer as we recognize that this basket represents both the generous heart of the individual and the receptive heart of this spiritual community. The generous heart of the individual who knows and knows that they know that God is our source, our substance, our supply. And so as the receptive heart of this spiritual community, we accept all these gifts, whether here in person, through the online community, through electronic giving, or through the mail, that all of it we receive with deep love and respect as we know together these gifts go forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless not only this community, but all CSLs everywhere, all centers everywhere. From this place of gratitude, we extend a blessing upon our community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, our state of California, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them, that we know further that in some crazy cosmic way that the creative impulse of life is alive and well and expressing itself in, through, and as this manifest life. And to the extent that we know this to be so, we see its demonstration in ways great and small. This lifts our hearts. We feel a sense of grace and power that propel us into ways of spiritual living that raise not only our own life, but the lives of those around us as well. And that's a good thing. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. Amen. So I do want to acknowledge a particular win. We have an actual rock star in our congregation right now. In that Brian played at the Whiskey last night. And so congratulations on that. To me, maybe you've done it before, but you have. Anyway, it was fun for me to see you on Facebook, see you both on Facebook, and I know you rocked the house. So, and the fact that you're here on a Sunday morning, I mean, come on. I mean, so what you need to know is Detroit keeps winning. The Lions keep winning. So I know that's why you're coming to church. But whatever the reason, it's all good. All right. So let's thank Teresa James one more time. I also want to acknowledge, I appreciate seeing so many men here today. You know, it's, yeah, I'm feeling the juice up here today. That's good. All right, and let's thank our presider today, Reverend Kathy Lyons. Thank you, Reverend Kathy. So we'll see you all next week, huh? Oh, let me just say one more thing. If you don't have time to buy a ticket and all that, I'll get a clipboard together and you can leave your name and phone number and we'll call you and get your information. How's that? Yes. For Saturday, next Saturday. All right.
Join me, please, as I speak in the first person for everyone here and online, as I recognize that this one power, which is God, which is love, and I am one with God and one with God's love. So love is in my mind, body, and all my affairs and in every aspect of life. And because I embody and express that love, I know that every aspect of my life is in an alignment with my highest good. And I also affirm that God is expressing through the Dodgers today in every single game. knowing all is well. And so with deep gratitude for this wonderful service today, I release my word to the law. I know it is done. I know it is so. And together we say, and so it is.
Thank you, Kathy. Y'all want to join in circle and sing with us? Or